Hey there, it's Bridget Lynn Dolgoff. I should probably put some chapstick on or something because my lips look pretty darn dry. Alright, we're ready to go. Chapstick on, my sexy makeup. God, I've been just kind of like rocking and rolling with some stuff, and I just really kind of super agitated and I guess maybe a little bit angry. Even people who think that they understand the native people, especially with the Dakota pipeline, they don't. Like a lot of the stuff that I've been reading. There's a huge long history before white people were ever white. And I like to we call them native people, but I like to call them original people. Now, original people are all over. And all of them, I imagine, genetically all have the same types of DNA strand because they were put here for a reason. So, excuse me. Wow, I just been having a hard time like thinking about how I would put a lot of this together. And, you know, a lot of this is not going to be new to a lot of you guys, but I just trying to get it all kind of out. Because I think also too, by me talking about this, it kind of releases energy around like the whole thing, because it's the truth, and the truth needs to like be understood. All right, so I like to call them the original people. Now, native people, original people, there are different tribes worldwide, but they are original people. Their stories can go back thousands and thousands of years. I mean, some of their stories tell us all the way back to the first extinction of this planet. So they call it, you know, the fifth world or the fifth extinction, or and natives are still on the fence to see which way we're going to push this into a good way and transition into this planet, or not a good way, and fighting and struggling and just all of it could push us into, you know, mass destruction and huge amounts of people dying on this planet. So prophecy for native people is prophecy comes true. So all these things that we quote as prophecy are not prophecy until they come true. So they're information, stories, you know, things to think about that are brought in or told. So I'm not native. My dad has Russian roots, but I think because of that, and I came from people, even on my mom's side, white side, that very old traditions. I think my mind just easily settles with the understanding kind of the original people and the native people. So they were all on all parts. I mean, they all have different characteristics, but they're all pretty much the same people. But you've got like a Polynesian blend. You've got some Celtic blends. You've got just all kinds of blends worldwide of original people. And their stories tell us that we're in the fifth extinction, or the fifth world, or kind of whatever you want to call it. Their histories go long back before white people. We're talking thousands. I mean, we don't really even accurately know, when these extinctions took place that we scientifically know about the scientific observation of the planet. And supposed scientific understanding, where these people have like stories, like family stories that are like passed down for millions and millions of years. So so some of my teachers, that I've been with Native teachers, and and also just information that I've come to understand through my, let's just say, out of these world connections and information streams that I journey down and pick up. And I don't know why this is making me so emotional, but we're just going to roll through it. All right. I'm trying to get this camera just right. So, when this planet was designed, excuse me, I'm going to clear my throat chakra now. Stuff I just don't readily, I guess, talk about. It's kind of embedded. When this planet was first designed, and everything was put on it, there's a lot of threads of information and stories by Native people original. So when this planet was first developed, everything that came here originally has its own world. You could say it's like multi-dimensional, like travel through its own world to be here, to have a say here, to create a greater understanding for all galactic and multi-dimensional, if they could have made it to here. So this planet, when it was originally created, was created with the mindset that all living beings coming here were coming from their own worlds, which made it unique. And we're not just talking about beings like Star Nation or Native people, or we're talking about everything that lives here, right? Like, rocks, trees, water. Water is its own being that made a conscious effort to come to this world and participate in it. So all made an agreement. Trees came here, and I've written a blog about trees and talked about them before because I have a relationship to trees, and I work with them physically and multi-dimensionally. So, and how they've ended up in my fire medicine it's been kind of, yeah, I love trees. Anyway, so everything comes here to participate, has a choice in the whole. Then Native people, and it depends on the story, but there's stories about the 7 nations that were first directly brought here. We're not talking about white people. We're talking about original people worldwide. 7 nations that were brought here. And they each kind of built, let's just say, the physical and energetic fabric here. Built the web, built it so that all could connect, and it was all interconnected. It's why you hear stories now that from coming out of different tribes, clans, bands, from all over. You hear different stories about native kids going through the rite of passage, through their ceremonies, and, going into the dreaming world and having direct discussions about that different beings like the ocean creatures, going to the council, so that they can actually finally be released from this planet. They don't want to participate anymore. They don't want to deal with the white people. And because of the white people, the native people have not been able to fulfill their contracts, their jobs, what they were put here for as the keepers of the earth and all living things on the earth. And they were taught this physically, how to take care of it and farm it or to generate food. And they were also taught how to protect the water, how to help the water. And then they also were taught ancient ceremonies that keep everything activated. And the ceremony is like it's a technology, it's like a machine, like a generator. And whatever is put into it is amplified and becomes creation, aids in creation, adds in regeneration, restoration. So a ceremony, wherever it's done, the earth has all these ley lines, which are exactly the same as our bodies that have meridian lines. So these ceremonies would be like putting an acupuncture needle in a blocked meridian line, say that goes to your gallbladder. So a ceremony would be like an energetic acupuncture needle, multidimensional, that would activate, clear, open up the ley line channels, keeping the energies going all over the earth. Because white people, the parasite, have done what we've done, cut deep holes in the earth, mined things, burn down the forests, cut the forests. I mean, trees are like acupuncture needle, like a long, long old one that holds the energy in where it's at and connects in its web, multidimensionally and physically. So when the 7 nations were brought here, original people, they were given all of this information to take care of the earth. So when people want to get, up on their high horse and say, even in the common law movement, the equity movements, all this other shit, horse shit, hope you say, when we fix our battle inside of us, that the battle outside of us will stop. So I'm learning not to perpetuate my internal battle, to keep the external battle going energetically. So when the people were put here on this planet was designed to be a library of information and knowledge, just about everything, multidimensionally, physically. There are some scientists now that are saying that it may have even had like some kind of ice shield around it when it was in the very beginning, and it would have made it a very like tropical, climate, like worldwide. Which means that our planet is getting drier and drier and drier, if that is the truth. Through the things that we're doing to it. So when they were given this planet was kind of in the middle or the center between lots of multidimensional doorways for beings to come in and out. Some travel that way in their ships or their orbs. And then also galactically, like universally, like we were kind of in the center, so it would be easy to find us or pass by Earth. And Earth contained all kinds of vast knowledge, physically, multidimensionally, energetically, however you want to say. So any beings could come here and plant or bring plants with them to grow physically on this planet so that other ETs or other worlds, say for example, they destroyed their world and they needed to terraform their world, they could come here to Earth and collected massive amounts of information to take back to their planet. And so a lot of there's bug beings or ETs, and they like to come here a lot to look at the flora and fauna, and they also like to collect and take back to their planet and replant and transplant. So the native people or the original people were the people who were the stewards of the planet. And they were given and taught all the information that was needed. And the ceremonies are what healed, regenerated, restored, opened the block energy lines in the mother, the great mother. So that, it was all vibrating and interconnected like a spider web. It's not so much that way anymore. It's very disconnected. She's in bad shape. We really need to get the ceremonies rolling to get her back connected. But we can't do that if we're fighting native people, whether we're using our mind or gossip or negative energy that we're sending to them, because we don't really understand. This whole thing is not about fighting for their land. It's about fighting for the water that they are the protectors and stewards of. And they were given that job when this planet was originally created. Or job. They accepted that work. So, white people, we came along when all these different ET races decided to make us in a petri dish. So, we have some genetics probably from this planet, maybe from original people, but no race has ever been able that came from other planets has ever been able to actually overthrow the native people. That's why they keep trying to massacre them, like mass genocide, destroying their DNA, messing with they have some lack of chromosomes that help them to process white sugar, such as alcohol or sugar products. So these kinds of things really F them up. I have gone around in different reservations and met different people and seen different things and heard different horrible stories. Like our government driving diesel trucks, trailers full of alcohol in them, a full 48-footer. Left and abandoned on a reservation so that they wouldn't make it to the meeting that they were having so the government could take more control. When I was at a reservation here in Nevada, there were some scientists or whatever from UNR that wanted to do genetic studies on the Paiutes, and they went to the elder's house knowing that they're poor. And we're offering them $250 to let them extract one of their teeth in their own home, a surgical procedure in their home on the res, for $250 so that they could finally, figure out genetically what would finally kill them off. This is the thing is you want to, say whatever you want to say about Native people. But this land is not ours. It's theirs. And we need to help them to restore their culture and to protect them so that they can go about and get the earth healed. They know how to do everything. They know how to do it all. It's in them. Even the younger ones, it just has to be activated. And we have to stop eliminating them. And we have to stop being involved with letting corporations or SWAT teams. I mean, if some SWAT team happened on to our home in our neighborhoods as white people, we'd freak the F out. We'd have like a mega war on our hands. So different races made the white biosuits, or the biological bodies. And in that, because of the biological systems, it forces us more into stress, beta, disease, acid, cold and calculated, controlling, competitive, in our ways and the way that we think of things and we do things. And so Native people happen to run more of a right brain, right hemisphere patterning. And so even if you genetically alter them and change them, you still can't do it. That's why these forces, when ETs didn't really want to use them to train them for mining gold for them or whatever they wanted to do on this planet, they created a white species that was easy, could, power and money. Oh yeah, white people love that. Sell myself out for that any day of the week. Native people just aren't that way. And they're not going to sell themselves out. I mean, there have been a few who have, but for the majority, they rather die because it's in them, in their right brain. They're in the present moment, the omnipotent, the omnipresent. And so we have two full races really living on this planet. We have the right brain and the left brain. And people on this planet don't really understand really what's going on with the Native people and why they're protecting the water, because this is what their job was when this whole planet was first formed, way long before the first extinction, millions and millions of years ago. So I wanted to kind of explain some of it and maybe ask people out there, to get behind the Native people right now. And no matter how it looks to any of us, it's a process that they need to get back to doing the work that they committed to, that they do, that they know how to do, that they have the information and the knowledge. And they have all of the ceremonies, which are technologies that can heal, cure, restore, regenerate this planet. That's their job. That's what they do. And so maybe if we could even just refrain from sending any kind of energy to allow them to make it through this so they can take their place back in the world. And that maybe as white people or other cultures, we can respect and honor these people and help them to get their work going again and to get their place in the world. So this video is, this land and this earth is not ours. It's theirs. And if we don't get a grip soon and help the Native and original people and learn from them, then things are not going to be good. It ain't going to matter if the financial systems change. It ain't going to matter if the political systems change. It ain't going to matter if the military. You know what? It's just going to go back to the same old crap. And so this is kind of something that happened. I was told this story about this young girl, Native girl, through one of my Native teachers. And this was just a few years ago. She was going through her rite of passage, and she was doing a vision quest, and she after a few days, saw herself, and she saw all these weird creatures, and they were like floating in the air around her, and they were talking to her, and there's like, turtles. So she'd never been to the ocean. And so the way the story was told to me is that she'd never been to the ocean. She'd never seen these creatures before. And they were telling her that this was going to be their last plea through her. And that she would have to go to the people, her tribal people, and tell them the story, tell them the vision that she had and what they told her. Anyway, so they told her that they had gone to the council. And they were the sea beings, the ocean creatures. But they were beyond disgusted with humanity. She, obviously white. Look what we're doing to the oceans. Look what we have been doing to the oceans. So they said that Creator said that in the council, that they come and they talk to a person to share their story. One last story. And if things don't change, then the ocean creatures were free to leave this world. So they tell the young girl this, so she relays her story back to her tribe, and it gets out. And it's been moving around. But because they get to have their own participation in this planet on a multi-dimensional level, because they were contracted here, so they would be part of the library, right, for universal, multi-dimensional Earth library, which means this planet was about conservation. Like, what the hell? What do we have now? Nightmare land. So there have been a lot of stories like that where the visions of the trees leaving. Okay, so this is the deal. Think about how egotistical it is, really, to say things are extincting on this planet, or there's extinction. Because maybe the truth is that the trees, the grass, the rocks, the water, all of them are living beings that came here to this library, and they're sick and tired. What if they could make a conscious decision to leave this planet? What if water could just pack up and leave tomorrow? No life. No life. And so regardless how you want to look at what's going on here, things may be a lot more sacred. Things may be a lot more important. Maybe this is the last deal that the water is striking. And maybe the Dakota people, are trying to keep the water here on this planet. Maybe they're trying to show the water that we can change and we can treat it with respect and sacredness that it should be treated with in order for it to stay. Maybe there's a bigger spiritual reason that most people could not even begin to fathom in the attempt to save this world. Maybe it's much more complicated. And maybe you have none of the information. And I think we should support the Native people right now. To show the water that we can take care of it, right? That we can fix it. We can work with it, right? All my relations means all my relationships to the water. Sorry. The relationship to everything on this planet. And I was thinking about this with microbes the other day. Microbes are what holds it all together. And the microbes can change, adapt, and they can make themselves anything that they need to make. They can be the decomposers, the killers. They can be death, or the microbes can be resurrectors. And so down to like the relationship to the microbes, the foundation of what we can see, the deepest we can see, can change and adapt and work together. Full circle. The hoop, full circle. All my relationships, everything's included. So, I just want to send my energy to the Native people fighting for the water right now, and all the things that I don't know and I don't understand, the mystery. And I ask that this message go out in a good way, that it's received in a good way, and that we can get out of the way in a good way and let the work begin. Anyway, I'm so glad I got that out. I was so upset for quite a few days, and I'm just really not liking the way that I see, white people that I think are conscious, that I do respect, not completely clear with a bigger understanding of what's going on. So, thank you for listening. Thank you. Thank you for changing your heart, changing your mind, bridging your heart and mind together. In service, Bridget Lynn Dolgoff, Consciousness of Economics and Urban Farm Project YouTube channel. Love.